Los Angeles Council President Nury Martinez resigned from her leadership role today after audio leaked of her making racist comments. The LA Times first broke the story of a leaked conversation that took place in October of 2021, literally a year ago this month, from a meeting attended by Martinez, as well as council members Gil Cedillo and Kevin De Leon, and president of the LA County Federation of Labor, Ron Herrera. All are Latino Democrats. Among the most egregious comments made by the now former city council president included this about her colleague, council member Mike Bonin's 2-year-old African-American son.
It's an accessory. When we do the MLK parade,
just like when
they used to have those statues and plantations.
And then when Nury brings her little yard bag or the Louis Vuitton bag, any places.
It's like the oddest thing. It's like black and brown on this float, and then there's this white guy with this little black kid who's misbehaved. Este niño has no. They're not even. They're not doing. The kid is bouncing off the effing walls on the float, practically tipping it over. There's nothing you can do to control him. They're raising him like a little white kid, which I was like, this kid needs a beat down. Like, let me take him around the corner and then I'll bring him back.
There's a lot to unpack in there, and believe it or not, it got even worse. Not only did Martinez call the child a Spanish term meaning animal, but she also mocked Oaxacans and implied that LA County's progressive district attorney, George Gascon, shouldn't be supported, saying, quote, F that guy, he's with the blacks. All 4 politicians have made statements apologizing. We should mention the source of this recording is still unknown, and NBC News hasn't determined whether or not it has been edited. Joining me now is Julian Castro, former Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, and now an MSNBC political analyst. Julian, I very much wanted to talk to you today. I've interviewed you several times about different things, international politics, Latino politics, but today I want to talk to you about being a mayor. You were the former mayor of San Antonio, and I just want you to sort of take us inside. In your time, and that was one of the fastest growing cities in America when you were the mayor there were a lot of changing demographics in San Antonio. You have African-American population, you have white Latinos, you have, Latinos who don't necessarily consider themselves white, you have immigrants, all sorts of different kinds of people. Had you ever experienced anything like this where you encountered with city council members or staff members this sort of internalized racism, and how did you deal with it if you had any of those experiences?
I never encountered anything quite like this. We did encounter someone on the council who was recorded, I think, by a staff member vocalizing homophobic remarks or comments talking about the LGBTQ community in a very derisive and homophobic way. So we see these kinds of things pop up. What I do know is that when I got elected mayor, especially when it came to vulnerable communities, you absolutely needed to build coalitions in order to be successful and successfully serve those vulnerable communities. And what really struck me about this recording, Jason, is that you have these council members, each of whom represents some vulnerable communities, neighborhoods out there in LA themselves, being racist, being homophobic, being anti-Indigenous, putting down other vulnerable people, when what they should be doing is trying to build those coalitions, because those constituents they're trying to serve, or at least they say they're trying to serve, they're elected to serve, absolutely need them to do that in a power structure that too often times is stacked against all of those groups that they're talking about and the ones that they say they represent. That's what makes it particularly sad, and I think disappointing and embarrassing for these council members.
Your former colleague, when you were both in Congress, Karen Bass, is currently in the lead against Republican, suddenly turned Democrat Rick Caruso. She has a good chance of becoming Los Angeles' next mayor. Put yourself in her shoes, or if she gave you a call and asked for advice, because look, the city council president has stepped down, but some of these other members have not stepped down yet. If you were advising Karen Bass, what would you tell her to do should she become mayor of Los Angeles, knowing that there are individuals on this call who might still be on city council when she takes office early next year?
Well, to her credit, Representative Bass is already doing it. She put out a statement today. She's called for their resignation. But more than that, she's gone beyond that and said, look, tomorrow I'm going to convene a group of Angelenos to figure out how we can all come together and work in the best interest of every community in this city. That is fundamentally what you need to do as a mayor. And that's what people need to hear during a campaign, that you are going to be a mayor for everyone. The good news is that Karen Bass has a history of working across Black and brown lines. She's very well known in the Latino community. For years, she worked to bridge that sometimes, tricky divide that can exist there. It's also true that at least two mayors who were trailblazers in their times, Mayor Bradley in 1973 and Mayor Villaraigosa, who was elected in 2005, they got elected with a coalition that included Blacks and Latinos. So she has a lot of fertile ground to work with here.
I want to read you a quick statement. This is pulled from a great column in the LA Times. Nura Martinez rant reveals the worst enemy of Latino political power, ourselves. Quote, casual racism and classism among Latinos is something our community has never really confronted until recently, as a new generation started frank and honest conversations about our anti-Blackness and colorism. It's a pathology exaggerated in the United States as we move into new neighborhoods and fight for political power with communities that have held it longer than us and aren't quite ready to give it up. What I loved about this statement is that it talks about the fact that sort of the larger democratic dream of the Black-Brown AAPI coalition, it's not magically going to happen. It's going to require some conversations. What do you think is a positive outcome that could come from the reveal of these tapes as far as that coalition building that needs to happen, not just in cities like Los Angeles, but across Texas, Arizona, and places where you have a growing Latinx population?
Hopefully it will prompt those serious conversations about how communities can come together respectfully and productively to look out for each other and to build a coalition in a way that recognizes that each of these communities is vulnerable, sometimes in the same way, sometimes in different ways. They all bring something to the table. But the common denominator here, Jason, and the reason that I think it is time for these folks to resign is you need people who can do that credibly and effectively. And no matter what is in the heart of the folks who were caught on this tape, they can't do that credibly and effectively right now. They can't build those coalitions. And so, it's unfortunate.
Former Secretary Castro, thank you so much. I apologize for confusing you were in Congress. I literally confused you and your brother. Hasn't happened before. I'm very sorry about that.
I'll tell my brother you said hi.
Thanks so much.